I think there's one moment that really defines the difference between a hard worker and a slave. I think it's a very clear line, but at the same time, a lot of people put it into the back of their minds when they're really doing hard work because they think this is who I am and this is a good thing to do. And a lot of cultures push hard work as a virtuous thing. And I don't disagree at all, but I do think there's a line. And I want to quantify that line. And I think there are a couple different variables that you kind of have to think about when you're considering if you're a slave or not. And you're considering what slavery is versus hard work. I think number one is it's very obvious when you no longer have a choice in what you're doing. When you can't choose to stop, like you say, what if I stop? And you start asking that question, and you have problems like, I don't think I can stop. When you start thinking that, then you're probably in the slave territory, because hard work is really a choice. That's why it's called hard work, because you're working harder than normal. Normal work is work. That's normal work. But then hard work is pushing yourself harder than need be. But if hard work becomes your normal, then you're basically just working harder as a slave, and you don't have, and if you stop having a choice and that becomes your normal and you have to work that hard to maintain a particular state, like when you have to do hard work to survive, hard work becomes your normal, and that's all there is to it. Like if you have to pay the rent, pay your bills, or if you got a debt or healthcare or whatever, and you just feel like you have to do hard work every day to survive and pay those bills, and you really have no extra room, then you're basically a slave. And I think slavery is the point at which you have to pay everything into whatever into something that you don't really want to, but you have to, like the bills and the rent and stuff. I think when you have to pay everything into that, that becomes slavery. But like if you can pay a little bit more into other things and stuff, then I think it's a little bit less of slavery. That's what I think. But I think another thing that fits into the survival category is identity. And identity, I think, if you base your identity into your work, your hard work, and you think I have to do hard work to actually gain and feel like I'm worthy, and your self-worth is basically just tied into your work and your hard work. That becomes slavery, I think, because even though it's just your identity, you still have to do it. You're forced to do it because you will lose something if you don't. And I feel like that's the main thing I'm saying here. Just like if you're forced to do it to keep something else alive, to keep something else afloat, then you really are a slave. And that's kind of the truth. I think if you look at it from another direction, though, it can give you a new perspective. I think if the system benefits more than someone is working, more than you're working, like if you only get enough just to survive, then you're probably in the slave territory, because because slaves are well known for only getting, like, food or water, and that's really all they get. I mean, sure, some of them got like paid or whatever a little bit, but the point is it's just enough to survive. And that's when the system benefits more than you do. Your job, your company benefits more than you do. And that's really the main point of where slavery and hard work meet in the middle. That's a big one. And another thing is just like if you get punished for small things, like slaves did, you get punished for very small things, or just at least you get harshly punished and you don't really leave. Like you just kind of accept it because you have to. You're forced to. And I just keep saying the word force, because that's just the main thing. It's more about forced rather than you choose to do hard work. I think the real point I'm trying to make here is People don't understand that they're slaves very often. They don't realize it, and they a lot of the time probably don't even want to think about it really. So I just want to say this so that you can kind of understand if you're in the area of a slave, and you can change your life a little bit, just a little bit, just lay off the gas a little bit in terms of hard work, right, and bring it back to where you want it to be. And I think really the way to do this is just to start doing something that you enjoy within the work or like outside of the work. Have relationships, keep them. And if you can do that, then you probably aren't a slave, because slaves usually can't do all that much outside of their work. And if you're intentional about how much you work, then then hard work isn't going to become your normal, because you're going to think about, is this hard work that I'm doing right now, or am I at the normal and I still feel like I'm doing some pretty hard work? If you feel like that, then then you're going to know that you are in the slave territory, and you can just bring it down a little, just slow it down just slightly, so that you're able to keep relationships, so that you're able to have more enjoyment on whatever project or job you're doing. And eventually you're going to, if you keep focusing on all this, I think anyone, even if you're in a really difficult situation, I think you can figure out a way to stop becoming a slave, or at least slow it down just a bit. So that's all I had to say today. Bye.